Hey everyone, it's Jonathan here, founder of Driving Academy, and in today's video we're going to be giving you 6 different people who actually are famous today and they started their careers with truck driving. That's right, you might not have known these fun facts about these 6 people, but you gotta wait till the end of the video to see the most famous individual out there who actually wound up saying multiple times he missed being a truck driver more than he liked being a famous musician. So let's get right into the list. The first person on our list is actually going to be Sean Connery. Now, Sean Connery is the first James Bond. Now, I don't know about you, but I grew up watching James Bond and I kind of just fell in love with that character itself. He was so smooth. He was never afraid of anything. He always got the girl at the end. And the cars that he drove, I mean, that Aston Martin, that became my dream car. And I actually wound up getting it for the very first time back in 2019, which is a super cool accomplishment. All because of a guy like Sean Connery, who actually became James Bond. But let's give you some notes about this individual itself. So Sean Connery actually had a few different careers in his past. So he actually worked as a lifeguard, he worked as a milkman, an artist, a model. He actually became a coffin polisher. I didn't even know that was a thing, but he actually polished coffins. But his dad was a truck driver, and he actually left the Royal Navy in England to become what they call out there a lorry driver. Now, lorry is the same thing as a truck. It's just the English way of saying it, as you can say, like they say tea and crumpets. From there, he actually did that for many years before he actually started his acting career. So trucking actually supported James Bond in making sure that he was able to live out his dream before he was actually able to become James Bond and so many other cool characters that he played. Definitely much respect to Sean Connery. All right, so the next famous person on our list is going to be none other than this guy right here. Now, I just cut you off because I know exactly what he's going to say. He said a bunch of skills about being a truck driver. And that's exactly how he got all of his driving skills in all the movies that he did, right? I think he did like 3 Taken movies. He went to go get the girl every single time. Why do you think he knew exactly where to go? Because he was actually a truck driver. And when I look at my notes here, he was actually a truck driver for the Guinness Brewery, which was actually pretty cool. So he was driving around beer all the time. And it was actually a fun fact about him. His driving instructor, when he actually started his career, is actually the one that encouraged him to actually get into acting. So another great actor that we have that was supported in himself and his family for many years because he was a truck driver. And as you saw in that movie, his very famous line, he's got very certain skills, and that is driving trucks. So if you get your CDL license and you get those skills, if somebody takes your daughter or takes your wife, you're going to have the skills to get them back because of all that years of experience. You're going to have to take those advanced classes that we have about becoming that like secret agent truck driver. We already got kind of 2 secret agents out there. We got James Bond and we got Liam Neeson. Let's see exactly who the next one is going to be. All right, so let's talk about the next famous person on this list. And remember, at the end of the video, we're going to give you the most famous person that's probably going to shock you the most. But James Cameron is our next guy. This is what he looks like. And if you don't know his name or don't know what his face looks like, you probably have seen 2 of his highest grossing movies out of all time. And that's going to be Titanic and Avatar. Both amazing movies, seen them many times myself. And he was somebody who actually was an amazing visionary, an amazing artist, and he got everyone thinking about doors. Now, what are you talking about, doors? I'm talking about, you know that scene in Titanic where Rose was on the door and then Jack was freezing in the water? We both know that that door is big enough for both of them to survive. But maybe it would have sunk, maybe it didn't. Put in the comments below, do you think Jack should have survived that? And if so, we'll send a message out to James Cameron and maybe he can do a reshoot. But some fun facts about him was he was actually a dropout in university. And after he dropped out from college, he actually became a truck driver and he started driving and saving up money for his first film equipment. So he wanted to make short films, and the way that he was able to support himself and to save up money was actually getting his license and actually becoming a truck driver. And this is an amazing thing that a lot of our students actually do, where they have a big dream where they want to make sure that they hit it, but it needs a lot of money to actually get that thing started. So they actually use truck driving as kind of like a bridge on where they are to where they want to go. So I was actually talking to another individual who wants to start a restaurant, but he doesn't have the money to do so. He wants to get a CDL license so he can save up the money and eventually have enough money to open up his very own restaurant. Now, because trucking was so valuable back then as now, James Cameron was actually able to find a job, make a whole lot of money doing the trucking job to save up enough money so he can start his home film career. And without him doing that, we would have never known what Rose and Jack were up to on that boat one day, or what those blue people are doing flying around on all those, I don't know, whatever you call those things. But it was super cool how they kind of like the tentacles kind of got together between the animals and the blue hair people on Avatar. So an amazing job there, all supported and started by being a truck driver. Now the next one on the list is going to be Chevy Chase. Now you might know Chevy Chase from his famous movies, the National Lampoon comedian, kind of guy always getting things in trouble. I remember the Christmas special one where like he destroyed the whole house, kind of a big klutz. So when you're thinking about a klutz like that, how could you be a truck driver if you're just a klutz? Well, good thing he was just acting, because we actually looked up his driving record, and he was actually a New York cabbie for a while, which means he was a driver, and he was actually an 18-wheeler driver for a very long time. Super reliable, worked many years doing it. So it's actually kind of relief that we have very reliable guys out there, and he was actually somebody who wound up playing in many movies, somebody who wasn't reliable. And there was even that one scene where he was driving a car and that car kind of went underneath the truck. If you guys know what I'm talking about, right over here. And that was a pretty cool. So it's a good thing that he was reliable on the actual road driving an 18-wheeler. He didn't have to be as crazy in real life as he was as an actor. Kind of like what this scene shows right over here. So the next person we're going to be talking about is going to be James Aldean. Now, before he actually became a famous country singer, he was actually a driver for Pepsi, and he was driving all over the state of Georgia delivering Pepsi products. And when he actually became a famous singer, of course, he stopped driving for Pepsi itself, and he started singing songs about driving. And that song that he wrote about Asphalt Cowboy was actually a tribute back to his old trucking days, and made sure that all those truck drivers out there really felt what he went through, and he definitely reminisces about all those days itself. And now, for the last and most famous truck driver of all time, we have Mr. the King himself, Elvis Presley. Now, Elvis Presley, if you don't know him, this is what he looks like. So Mr. Elvis Presley, like I said, the most famous person on this list, he's probably the one person that changed music the most. And there was actually a bunch of movies made from him. One recently that I watched that was actually pretty cool. But before he actually became the king himself of musician, he was actually working for the Crown Electric Company in 1954 as a truck driver, making $40 per week. Well, good thing he actually did become a singer, because or else who would know what the music world and the rest of the world will look like today. But he did start his career off becoming a CDL truck driver itself. And another cool fact about him is that fancy hairdo that you see right over here. He actually says that he actually was inspired by a lot of different do's or hairdos that he saw in the trucking world itself. Those big belts that you see him wear, that's all a trucking influence itself. And it's been said that many times in kind of like when things are kind of slowed down for him, or especially towards the middle or end of his career, he was actually looking back and he was like, wow, maybe I should have just stayed as a truck driver. It was something that he truly loved. Imagine just cruising down the road, driving all those miles, being able to sing to yourself and kind of listen to the radio, and kind of doing all that self-discovery, because all that fame, all that pressure kind of got to him at the end. So he was definitely very interested in just a nice, simple, consistent lifestyle. But everything happens for a reason, right? And he went through the path that he chose to go through, but he actually started off as a truck driver. So a lot of these famous people started off as truck drivers, and they wound up becoming the people who we all know and love today. That being said, maybe you want to become a truck driver. If that's the case, you have to go to the best truck driving school in the entire country. Now, if we were around back in Elvis Presley's time, I'm sure as heck he would come to our school, because he would know who the best truck driving school is in the country, and then maybe we can actually interview him being a graduate here, but we weren't open that early. Now, if we were open back in the 1950s, 1940s, I'm sure we would have found a way to get Mr. Elvis Presley himself to come to our school, because he's a guy who wanted the best of everything, right? So he wanted to come to the best truck driving school in the country, and that's what we are. That being said, if you want to be the next Elvis Presley in your career, you got to come to the best truck driving school in the whole country here at Driving Academy. Check out our website, cdldrivingacademy.com, so we can actually see exactly what the next steps are going to be for you and what location is closest to you. And maybe you can get your very own hairdo. I mean, I got my hairdo going on right over here, but you can be inspired just like Elvis Presley on exactly what your hairdo is going to be when you actually become rich and famous and become the singer out there, and don't forget where you came from. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this video of 6 famous people who actually started their career with trucking. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, make sure you hit that like button. Also, subscribe to our channel. It's really going to help us out. Click on that button. And if you want to continue yourself on your road to freedom, here's more videos to watch. There's endless amounts. Hopefully we get to see each other one day very soon. Thanks.